Gentlemen, come closer. I want to talk to you about the one thing that separates a lover who is simply present from a lover who is truly remembered. We need to have a conversation about what happens when the lights go down, when the outside world fades away, and it's just you and her. Specifically, I want to talk about the mechanics of your passion. Now, I know you think you know how to do this. You've seen it in mainstream media, perhaps in the wrong kind of videos, or maybe you picked up bad habits in your younger years. But I am here to tell you, with absolute certainty, that 99% of men are moving wrong once they get inside. You are thrusting for your pleasure, but you are likely missing the mark for hers entirely. Women are not built like men. Our bodies respond to rhythm, intention, and geometry in a way that a simple piston-like motion just cannot satisfy. In fact, the way you move is often the difference between a woman who is merely participating and a woman who is completely unraveling beneath you. Today, we are going to recalibrate that motion. We are going to turn mechanical repetition into a symphony of sensation. By the time we are done here, you will understand that thrusting isn't just about depth or speed, it is about conversation. It is about listening with your body and responding with intent. So, if you are ready to stop being part of the 99% who are getting it wrong and finally step into the 1% who truly know how to drive a woman wild with just the right movement, then pay close attention. Let's talk about the art of the stroke. Let's start with the very foundation of your movement, and that is the angle. Most men, in the heat of the moment, default to a straight, linear in-and-out motion. You are essentially moving in a flat line. But here is the secret that changes everything. The vagina is not a straight tube. It actually angles toward the navel, and the most sensitive areas, specifically the G-spot or the internal network of the clitoris, are located on the anterior wall, the front wall. If you are thrusting straight in, you are gliding past the very spots designed to give her the deepest pleasure. You are like a key sliding past the lock instead of clicking into it. To truly connect, you need to change your angle of approach. Imagine you are aiming your movement slightly upward toward her belly button. This isn't about jackhammering. It's about creating a come-hither motion internally. When you are on top, instead of just going up and down, rock your pelvis. Grind your pubic bone against her clitoris while the head of you strokes that front wall. For those of you behind her, adjust your stance so that you are entering from a lower angle, naturally sliding upward. This subtle shift in geometry transforms a generic touch into a targeted caress. Suddenly, you aren't just inside her, you are with her, speaking directly to her most responsive nerve endings. This is the difference between noise and music. Now that you have the correct angle, we need to talk about the second critical error, the metronome. Many men find a single speed, usually a fast one, and stick to it relentlessly. You think that constant speed equals constant pleasure. But for a woman, monotony is the enemy of arousal. Her desire builds in waves, not in a straight line. If you keep pounding away at the same pace, her body adapts, her nerves get desensitized, and she mentally checks out. You want to keep her hooked? You need to master the art of rhythmic variation. Think of your body as a DJ mixing a track. You have to build the beat, drop it, and build it again. Start with deep, slow, languid strokes. Let her feel every inch of you. Tease the entrance. Then, gradually increase the tempo. But just as she starts to get used to it, slow it down again. This is called hooking her nervous system. You are creating anticipation. You are making her wait for it. When you speed up, she feels rewarded. When you slow down, she craves more. This push and pull keeps her on the edge of her seat, or in this case, the edge of the bed. Her body will start chasing your rhythm. Her hips will start to move with you, begging you not to stop. That is the moment you know you have control, not over her, but over the experience you are sharing. Let's move on to a concept that very few men understand, and that is the power of depth variation. There is a persistent myth in the male psyche that women only want you to go as deep as possible, as hard as possible, all the time. I want you to challenge that belief right now because it is a myth born from inexperience, and perhaps from watching the wrong kind of entertainment. The reality is that the most sensitive part of a woman's anatomy is actually the first few inches of the vaginal opening. That area, the introitus, is packed with dense nerve endings designed specifically for pleasure and sensation. The deeper internal zones are wonderful for feelings of fullness and pressure, but they aren't always the primary pleasure zone in the way you imagine. If you are constantly bottoming out, if every single stroke is deep and hard, you are actually ignoring the front door of the house while trying to climb in through the window. The secret is to vary your depth like a beautiful, teasing dance. Start with shallow strokes. Stay right at the entrance where she is most sensitive. Let her feel the sensation of being filled and then almost completely empty. Tease her with the promise of more depth. Let her hips chase you a little. This builds an incredible amount of liquid heat and anticipation. Then, slowly sink deeper, giving her that feeling of fullness and connection. Hold it there for a moment, letting her adjust and feel you deep inside. Then, return to the shallow teasing. By alternating between shallow and deep, you are stimulating every part of her internal structure. You are telling her body a story: the tease, the arrival, and the retreat. This prevents the sensation from becoming predictable and ensures that every single nerve ending is awake, paying attention, and waiting for your next move. Now we are moving into the advanced territory, the kind of movement that separates the experienced lovers from the beginners. We have covered the in and out motion extensively, but what about the around? Here is something that might surprise you. Thrusting does not have to be just linear. In fact, some of the most powerful sensations a woman can experience come from rotation. When you are inside her, especially in positions like missionary or cowgirl, try adding a deliberate circular motion with your hips. Imagine you are trying to draw a slow, wide circle with your pelvis against hers. This rotational grind does something incredible that straight thrusting simply cannot achieve. It stimulates the entire circumference of the vaginal wall. Every nerve ending around the entrance gets activated in sequence. At the same time, this motion provides consistent, rhythmic pressure on her clitoris through your pubic bone grinding against hers. It transforms simple penetration into a full-body massage, a deep connection that resonates through her entire pelvic floor. This technique is particularly devastating when you are already at full depth. Instead of pulling out and thrusting back in, just stay buried deep and rock your hips in that slow, deliberate circle. You will feel her respond immediately, her breath catching, her fingers gripping your back, because this motion mimics the natural movements of deep arousal and creates a gentle suction and pressure that linear thrusting never can. It is a primal, connected feeling that tells her body, "I am here, I am in control, and I am exploring every part of you." It breaks the monotony of standard motion and introduces a new dimension of pleasure that makes the entire experience feel intimate, raw, and deeply connected. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we arrive at the element that truly separates the lovers from the amateurs: the feedback loop. You can have the perfect angle, the perfect rhythm, and the perfect grind, but if you are not watching her, listening to her, and actually feeling her responses, you are still doing it wrong. Sex is not a solo performance where you execute a series of moves and hope for applause. It is a duet, a conversation between two bodies. The 99% of men who get this wrong are focused entirely on their own release or their own mechanical motion. They are inside her body but completely absent from the experience. The 1%, the men who are truly remembered, are hyper-focused on her reaction. When you change your angle, watch her face closely. When you slow down the rhythm, listen for her breath catching in her throat. When you add that rotational grind, feel if her legs tighten around you or if her hips begin to move with you. Her body is giving you a real-time map to her deepest pleasure, a living instruction manual written in every gasp and every shiver. If she gasps when you hit a certain angle, stay right there and repeat that motion. If she moans when you shallow stroke, do it again and again. You have to become a student of her body in that moment. Ask her with your eyes. Whisper to her, "Like this?" and watch the response carefully. When you become responsive to her cues, you are no longer just thrusting mechanically. You are truly communicating on a primal level. You are building a beautiful loop of pleasure where her reaction guides your motion, and your motion fuels her reaction even more. This turns a simple physical act into an emotional and psychological connection that penetrates far deeper than your body ever could. She will feel seen, heard, and incredibly safe with you, and that safety is what finally allows her to let go completely. So there you have it, gentlemen. We have journeyed together through the 5 secrets that separate the 99% from the 1%. We started with the angle of entry, aiming toward her belly button to hit those deep, sensitive spots. We moved into the rhythm of anticipation, learning to speed up and slow down like a DJ building the perfect track. We explored depth and the art of the tease, understanding that the first few inches are often more sensitive than the deepest ones. We added the rotational grind, that circular motion that turns penetration into a full-body massage. And finally, we tied it all together with the feedback loop, watching her, listening to her, becoming a student of her pleasure in real time. You now have the roadmap. You have the tools. The question is, what are you going to do with them? Are you going to go back to your old habits, your old mechanical ways? Or are you going to step into the man who truly understands how to move inside a woman? The man she will text the next morning? The man she will remember for weeks? I want you to do something for me right now. Scroll down to the comments section and type the number of the point that resonated with you the most. Is it number 1, the angle? Number 2, the rhythm? Number 3, the depth? Number 4, the grind? Or number 5, the feedback loop? Let me know. Let's build a community of men down there who are committed to becoming better, more attentive lovers. And if you found this valuable, if you felt something shift inside you while listening, then hit that subscribe button right now. Join me on this journey. We are just getting started, and I have so much more to share with you. Thank you for listening, gentlemen. Now go out there and connect. Really connect. The world has enough technicians. Be an artist.